Getting ready to leave for Nevada. Antelope, pronghorn, horns longer than ears. 7 points burned for this tag in a unit that's mediocre at best. No matter. Couple of bow cases, backup bow, lightning rack, recovery. Gonna put some gas in there. Put some gas in there, cooler, rooftop tent, wheeler, archery target, generator, another cooler, vacuum e-bike, mule, 365 target. Well, it's a long drive to Nevada, man. And my truck check engine light came on. My truck started acting funny, like I wasn't getting fuel when I was demanding it up some grades, and it started doing this, and then it kind of limped, and then I had to pull over, then it died. That happened twice. I limped into Ontario, Oregon, which is right outside of Boise, and man, checked the codes, and it's all fuel pressure stuff and sensors. And so being Friday and nobody's open on Saturday to Sunday, I'm just like, screw it. I'm 3 hours out, 4 hours out. I'm gonna risk it. So I'm driving with check engine light with some codes, and hopefully take care of it when I get home and my truck can make it, and enjoying the absolute crap out of this beautiful sunset in the desert of nowhere, Oregon, almost to Nevada. And should be scouting full day tomorrow and figuring it out, sorting it out, making it happen on opening day, and then getting this truck figured out before elk season, most importantly. Iced coffee. We got cloud cover. It rained in the desert last night. That's why I'm smiling. I pulled everything out and slept right here. The wind was howling. I didn't want to set up my rooftop tent, so I slept on top of the deck. It's gorgeous. I'm gonna go find antelope today. Hey, scouting day before the opener. Have not seen an antelope, man. Like, I drove the entire circumference of the unit, 130 miles. Haven't seen an antelope. So just came up this mountain range where I can get high, and I'm like, I feel like I'm in mule deer country, and I'm just glassing for probably 5-6 miles in every direction. It's kind of flat valley out there. I still don't see any lopes, but the roads are so bad from the rain that it's gumbo, man. I went to the nearest. It is 7 o'clock. I've been up since 5 a.m. I just saw my first antelope. It's a buck. He's by himself. Drive around so I can glass him a little bit, see where he goes. But damn, that took, I was ready to drive home, man. Ready to drive home. Somebody set up for tomorrow, opening day. Oh yeah, there's water right there. I'm on an old BLM crappy road, just basically checking water, glassing. Friends, we made it back. I haven't set camp up yet because it took me all day to find 2 antelope. Stats, 160 miles in the truck. I just did a 25-mile loop. I did a 22-mile loop, and then I did a 26-mile loop on the four-wheeler. So, man, quite a few miles today. This unit sucks. I'm not impressed. I hope it changes my mind. I'm gonna stay positive. Yeah. Good morning. Slept in till 6. Heard one car come by. Sound like a car, not a truck. I think we're about 6,000 feet. Maybe a little higher. I should check. But I got a headache, so I'm gonna drink coffee. Water's boiling. Instant coffee. Food. Glass a little. Go check a water hole. Shoot a bow. Glass some more. It's the plan today. No high expectations. Realized yesterday this is just going to be a different hunt. So I'm here to enjoy it and make the best of it. Pretty dope camp. Guess it's opening day. Might as well go out and see what we can kick up. Dude, just saw 6 antelope does. There they go. Plus, I saw the same buck that was right here yesterday on the other side of the hill. I'm camped right there. I just also drove to the closest water hole that I didn't check yesterday, and there's a ground blind on it, and it's honestly the best setup ever. And the guy was in it waving at me, so I turned around. It's overcast today, but then it just goes right to 95, 100 degrees for the rest of the week. So unless I find a really good buck to stalk, we're looking for water. Got the ground blind, it's packed. Here we go. All right, we're cruised in, checking water sources right now. This one's dry as a bone. Got a ground blind, but no water. I don't see any water, so I have to walk over here and see if I'm missing something, because I told myself find remote water and then find antelope sign or see antelope at the water. This would be a terrible place to have to come to every day. You can't get a truck close, and the four-wheeler, it's treacherous, but let's go over here and see if there's, I think it's dry as a bone. I think it's dry as a bone, so. We're in the desert. I bet it rained at least an inch. The whole road was flash flooding where I just came from. Did about a 70-mile four-wheeler ride all the way down there. I got stormed out. I found 2 water holes. That's it, that actually had water. Both had ground blinds. I saw 2 antelope bucks today. Barely legal. He lives right here. And then I saw an okay buck, probably a 2 or 3 year old, and just in the middle of BFE, and there's no water. Well, now there's gonna be water everywhere. You guys want to see the sickest setup? What you can't tell is you got a rock wall here, and then freaking 25-yard shot, and there is water in there. And I'm camped on the other side of that mountain right there, and I'm here to tell you there's a buck and 5 does that just live on top of that mountain. So whoever's got this spot, good for you. You're gonna get something. It rained a ton, an absolute ton today, like water on the road, all the holes filling up. So I'm gonna maybe try to find the bucks living close to home tomorrow, mess with them a little bit, and then I'm gonna pack up and move to a different spot. I mean, this spot's okay, but we gotta find more density. Welcome to Nevada, where I've never hunted here before. I'm burning 7 points on a unit that was my last choice, but as y'all know, in Nevada, they go through all your choices. So my name got picked. 7 years, 7 points, never been here before. Water, there's not much around. Antelope, there's not much around. Hunting pressure, if there's a spring, there's a ground blind. So we're either gonna have to find some water that is off grid, off the map, or do spot and stalk. And I came back to where I saw 4 antelope cross the road today. And I took a couple of spur roads on the wheeler and found that herd with that shooter buck. So right now I found a spring right here, checked it, it's dry. And then I went over here about 600 yards, checked that spring, it's dry. So I got to figure out if these antelope, there's a water trough right off the road. I hope that's not where they're getting water. I don't feel like putting a ground blind right off the road, but I will. But I saw where they came from and where they went, so I got to go kind of backtrack and see if there's sniff around over there, if there's some sort of water source. See that? Not on the map. Got my Xenic blind. I'm gonna set it up. We're gonna try to, it's raining, but I'm gonna try to find some antelope tracks and figure this out. All right, so there's the water hole. That's about 65 yards to the edge right there. And then you can see there's these little trails filled with antelope tracks. It's probably 90. That's why my shirt's off. Relax. Water source, not on the map. Nobody's ground blind. Just me. And I saw antelope coming. I backtracked them. I saw them heading towards 2 springs. I checked those springs. They're dry. I'm like, I wonder where they came from. They got water here. All right, guys. So I made it back to camp for the evening just to kind of, I got the blind set up. I'm excited. I wanted to clear out of the area, let it cool off for the evening. Enjoy a nice evening at camp, shoot the bow, ride the e-bike around, just kind of check out some other areas close by, and be ready to hit it hard in the morning here in Nevada, day 4. Pretty excited. I also had this giant bull that would hang out by my camp. And so I thought I'd film him, check out the size, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'm super stoked for tomorrow. First full day sit in the ground blind. Here we go. So my ground blind, the first time I set it up, I had kind of split the distance from this pond. I had 70-yard bomb shot on one side and a 40-yard shot on the other side. I didn't know where the antelope were going to come in from. I didn't know if they're going to get water at the main pond or come down to the seep. And so I just kind of had to hope that I guessed right. And I immediately started seeing antelope by 11 a.m. on my first full sit at this water hole that's not marked on the maps. I started seeing antelope does after antelope does, no buck in sight, but I was at least excited when most of the antelope bedded 400 yards away from the blind. 11 does, no 1 buck. Whoever you are in your Tacoma truck, can you politely piss off? I don't know what you're doing, but you just scared away all the antelope. And it's middle of the day when antelope coming to get a drink. That'd be great if you could leave now. That'd be great. Okay. I'm in the oven. I'm roasting. So I'm going to catch you guys up to speed real quick. That dude in the Tacoma, he parked and kicked out the 11 antelope does that were bedded 400 yards from the blind on the hill. And then once they skylighted, he turned around. I don't think he even saw him. He started to drive out, and when he drove out, I was like, all right, here's my chance. I'm going to move the blind closer to the water. Now it's 59 yards instead of 78. And then I have a 64-yard shot over there to that seat. And when I was moving my blind, the dude out of nowhere just drove all the way up and got out of his truck and wanted to have a great conversation about how this is where he was gonna hunt. His blind got broken by the cows, and he went home to get a new blind and came back, and now I'm here. How long am I gonna be here? Do I mind if he puts his blind up too? And I just was like, look, man, appreciate you asking, but also you just drove up to my blind while I'm trying to hunt in the middle of the hottest part of the day. So politely leave your blind here. If I kill, I'll set it up. Or leave your phone number on my four-wheeler back there at the road. There's no road to here. And I will call you when I kill. And he said, okay. He's like, how did you find this spot? It's not on the maps. And I said, I got to a couple vantage spots and saw antelope get water here. So nice guy, but why did you drive all the way up here? He saw me moving the blind and thought, oh, I think he thought maybe I was leaving or something. But man, nothing worse than being an antelope hunter and having someone drive all the way up to your blind, especially one like this that there's no road to it. It's not on the map, and you have antelope bedded right by you. Good morning. Sun's coming up over the horizon, so we best be Headed to the ground blind. That's our plan today. Sit water. Intersect the antelope there. So concerns. The antelope could freak out seeing that blind. No matter what, they can still tell something's up. Number two, I didn't get to put blinds out 10 days before the opener, so they can get used to it. It's just too far. So number three, the pond and the seep are so far apart that we're looking at long shots. But I did practice last night, a few shots, and I'm feeling confident. So hopefully we get to find out. Let's go to the ground blind. I did that just so I have really identifiable. That's 40 yards. I did a bunch of those stacked rocks at 40 just so I can know in case I don't have time to range. So yeah, I can get out this window if I need to shoot over here. Rock and roll. Hey, it's 11 a.m. Just saw an antelope on top of the ridge. Got excited and figured it was the lead doe. She stared for 5 minutes and then dashed. So I watched this group of 11 antelope does come off the mountain and head towards water, and I was excited to finally see where do these antelope actually like to get water. And then there they came at the large pond. They didn't go to the seep, and I knew I needed to change my ground blind, move it from 70 yards to where they're drinking to maybe closer to like 60, 55, 60 on both sides, so I can shoot at the seep and I can shoot at the pond and kind of split the difference. So I knew I was going to have to move my ground blind again. 9 came and got water, and then they all went back up and met up with the other 2, which one of them was the one I saw in that ridge. So now I got to probably move my ground blind. Because it would be a 78-yard shot. I'd like to move it 20 more yards so we could have 60 and 60. 59 yards. And then over here, we got 64. How am I going to kill an antelope out over water in the desert when it keeps raining in the desert? Thought I would do a check-in on Nevada. It's supposed to get to 91 today. Should be the hottest day I'm here. And then it's going to be 84 tomorrow. And then it just cools off to 70s and 60s. So probably just going to hunt today and tomorrow and hope that the good Lord brings in a buck. So it was another really hot day. I'm baking in the ground blind. That's why my shirt's off. I'm not flexing, I promise you guys. It's just so stinking hot. Lots of wildlife at the pond, but big game-wise, hoping to see some antelope. And the first antelope to come through was a doe and 2 fawns, and they kind of skirted the water, bedded down for several hours, and then they came back towards the water. And later that day when they came back with the water, this buck all of a sudden showed up with them. And I'm like super stoked. He's probably about 100 yards out, and he's pretty interested in getting water, at least as far as I can tell. And so I'm just waiting and watching. He actually comes in one time to about 40 yards, but he never offered a shot. He was always facing head on, and I had just this tiny window. So he went pretty close to the water, and then he went back out, kind of bluffed, bedded down for an hour, and then finally got up, and I could tell it was like 4 o'clock. It was hot. He was going to come in for water, and I'm stoked. Like, he's on a beeline heading straight towards me, and he's not a giant. He's probably not what I came down here for, but he's as good as a buck I've seen, and we're at 6 full days of trying to find antelope. So I'm stoked. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to come back in and come get some water out of the seep to my right. He's not going to come to the pond side. This is going to be a 40-yard chip shot. I just got to be patient. Don't move much. I had some good cover wind, and he starts taking a weird, funky angle I don't like. Next thing I know, Right there, he's probably 30 yards, and he's closing, and I have this sagebrush blocking my shot, and I had never anticipated antelope coming in where he comes. So right now he slips down, and he's at the seep. You'll be able to see his head. He is getting water at about 18 yards from me. I am knocked on, ready to rock, and I can't get a shot. Meanwhile, the does and fawns are out of screen to my right. They're getting water where antelope should be getting water. And this dude is just drinking water 18 yards away from me. And he drinks water forever. Most antelope get a drink for like 30 seconds tops, and then they're out. This is like several minutes of him drinking water. And I'm thinking, okay, all I gotta do is figure out when he's gonna be done drinking water, make sure I'm at full draw, and it's gonna be a top pin shot as soon as he clears this sage and comes out of this little divot and pops back up. And I mean, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out a place to hunt in this unit, and I'm trying to figure out where there's actually antelope and not hunting pressure. I finally find it. I'm sitting in this ground blind, which feels like a jail cell because it's so hot, and my adrenaline spiked, and I'm like, all right, man, just be smooth, pull back, you'll get a shot. The buck picks his head up, gets back down, gets a drink of water, and I'm like, okay, man, this is your time. So I pull back nice and slow here, and I'm just like, all right, he's got to be close to being done. He's going to just walk away slowly, and I'm going to put one right in his chest, top pin. So I got a 3-pin slider. It's set at home, 20, 30, 40. I'm thinking top pin all the way. I got my V331, wise choice. I'm feeling confident. I got a VPA on the end of the arrow, and I let down because I think, man, this guy's not done drinking. And what ends up happening is when he gets done with the drink here, he does a 180 and walks straight away, not offering a shot. And I'm just devastated.
I suck. Fucking frustrated. You're supposed to come get water where all the antelope get water. He comes. I quit.
All right, last day in antelope, day 7, back to the ground blind jail cell. Hopefully that buck will come back in. I'm well prepared for him to come in any position. I'm ready to launch an arrow. I got to shoot a buck. He's got to be larger than his ears. Last day, here we go.
Good morning. August 5th. 5th day the season's been open. Probably my last day unless something changes. I checked the weather. It's going to be cooling off today. The high is only 81, which means I can keep my shirt on. Hopefully, spruced up the blind quite a bit. Went out and looked back in and could see, like, okay, where to put some sage. What sticks out the most is my camera, so I'm gonna put some electrical tape around all the white. I need to do that, and so I'll do arts and crafts. Antelope haven't been showing up till about 11. That's about 4 hours from now. But I did see an awesome loner buck last night. Pretty close to camp, and he was by himself, and he was kind of heading this way, so hopefully he's new to the deal. And then the buck yesterday, who has 9 lives, hopefully he shows up today because he's out of life, so I'm going to kill him. And yeah, that's what we got. Beautiful day, overcast, smoky. I woke up with a headache, very smoky, probably extremely hazardous to your health, but it feels good to be out hunting. I like my setup. It's just interesting to how much fine tuning it really takes. You see all that white on my camera? I got to use some electrical tape and get that spruced up. And then you got to sit back in the shadows and hopefully get a shot. So see them before they see me and execute a good shot.
So I ended up sitting all day on the last day, and man, nothing came in but these beef cow bulls. And I was really surprised because I'd seen antelope every day sitting this blind. I knew I'd squandered my probably one and only opportunity by not having the bright windows open, and that's hunting, man. So day 7, full day sit. When I got done, I packed up everything, drove back to my truck, loaded up everything, and drove straight home. It was an awesome hunt.
It was not worth burning 7 points, but that's no one to blame but me. I should not have put this down as my 5th choice. I wanted more of a quality hunt, but I still had a good time. I was hunting early August, something I've never really done before. I figured out the unit pretty well given the low densities of antelope, and I have no regrets. I gave it my best, and I was super excited to get home. I didn't like starting the year off with tag soup, but that's hunting. I really enjoyed the beautiful landscapes. I love the desert. I love antelope hunting. I love antelope meat. I love how crazy these animals are. They're really hard to shoot, whether you're out of a ground blind or even spot and stock, which is next level. And I just wanted to bring you guys, I know the first episode of the Public Land Hustle doesn't have a kill, but that's okay. It's a public land hustle. Nothing's guaranteed. That's why we do it. It's very challenging and rewarding. And we just love the mountains, and we love wild landscapes. I would never go here if I didn't have an antelope tag, so I was thankful for that. And I'll be back for more antelope hunting on the next episode. We'll be going to Idaho, a place I'm very familiar with, during drought conditions, and we'll give it hell.